Magic Valleys, telling stories from within our communities. This is Good Morning Idaho.
Hey everybody, Good Morning Idaho. I'm senior reporter Roland Barris. It is 6 a.m. Good to have you along on this Thursday morning, working our way through with just one cup of coffee so far. Must have gotten some sleep somehow. I don't know how that happened. All right, we've got a lot to get to from our large team of neighborhood reporters today. Coming up, I'm going to bring you an update on David Tisdall. He's the firefighter up north at Coeur d'Alene. He's moving along in the recovery process after that horrific sniper ambush in Coeur d'Alene last month. Also coming up in our next half hour, Riley Shoemaker. She breaks down a bizarre lawsuit being brought against the city of Boise over that plot of land right there that a 72-year-old man is claiming ownership to despite not actually owning it. That may be a gray area. We'll get to those stories coming up in just a moment. But first, let's get the latest on our weather with Sophia Cruz. Seeing the pictures of the river makes me feel cooler just looking at it.
Yeah, and it'll feel even better once we're in our weekend and we can actually sit into the water and just enjoy it because it's so hot. Now, it is going to be a hot one today, but not only hot, hazy. We'll be looking at wildfire smoke building in as we head into our later morning and throughout the afternoon. So we'll be taking a look as to what this means for us. And then also the hot weather is going to continue on, guys. I don't know how many ways I can say it's going to be hot, but it is going to be hot today and tomorrow. As far as what we look like for our moisture coming in, we will see some monsoonal moisture make its way in from the Gulf because of the way our winds are shifting. So we'll be taking a look as to what that could mean. And it will bring on some chances for isolated storms, and I'll have a timeline for you also. But for this morning, short sleeves, shorts, that's going to continue on. We'll see those upper 60s by the time we head into dinner time, mid 90s, and we'll see a bit more of that wildfire smoke build in. The good news is, Rowan, is that this not perfect. This is good weather for the pool.
That's for sure. All right. Thanks, Sophie. Appreciate it. And with that hot and dry weather comes, of course, wildfires. We're going to break down the active wildfires in surrounding areas in just a second. But first, our Alexander Huddleston at the first major Idaho fire of the season.
Dry, hot weather, prime conditions for fire season. I'm your neighborhood reporter Alexander Huddleston at the site of the Tyndale fire, right there on those hills over there near the CJ Strike Reservoir, learning about the efforts by the firefighters to stop it and how you can prevent these types of burns. Tuesday afternoon, the fire crews responded to a wildland fire near Crane Falls outside of Mountain Home.
A plethora of engines and water tenders and dozer plus aircraft.
Responders worked overnight and into Wednesday, containing the fire around 6 p.m. Chad Klein with BLM says on the phone they charted the fire at 1,698 acres, with plans to have the smoldering hill under control at 8 p.m. on Thursday. But as we get into the fire season, blazes in public lands can occur more often. So here's what you should know.
If you're towing trailers, to check your chains and make sure they're wrapped up and not dragging, and checking wheel bearings on your trailers, making sure those are all sound. Shooting in safe places. The public likes to shoot in a lot of areas that we have on the Boise district.
You can find other information and restrictions on the BLM website. Idaho News 6 is your station for wildfire coverage. We'll be bringing you updates on wildfires across the Treasure and Magic Valleys all season long. I'm your neighborhood reporter Alexander Huddleston for Idaho News 6.
The closest active wildfire to Boise right now is the Daybreak Fire, burning about 15 miles north of Huntington on the west side of the Snake River. It initially sparked early Tuesday evening, and it's since grown to 851 acres with 40% containment. Now, the fire had initially closed Snake River Road between Richland and Huntington, but according to Baker County Sheriff's Office, that road is now back open. The Big Bear Fire continues its rapid growth along the Salmon River in the Frank Church Wilderness of No Return. The flames have scorched more than 2,500 acres with no containment. The fire burning in steep, difficult terrain in a very, very remote area. Crews are working to protect the historic Arctic Point Lookout and several lodges in the area. Lightning sparked the fire last week. An update on the Buckboard Fire, which has burned nearly 1,700 acres near the Idaho-Utah border. Overnight, crews were able to achieve 75% containment, and they will continue suppression efforts this morning. Firefighters facing some pretty difficult terrain in that area and challenging wind conditions as well. The BLM says it's going to be a few days before the fire is brought to fully controlled status. No structures are threatened, and there are no evacuations at this time. Idaho fires not limited to the wilderness, though. Take a look at this. Video shared with us by a viewer, a vehicle fire on I-84 eastbound near the Sand Hollow exit. You can see what appears to be a semi-trailer fully engulfed in flames. Thankfully, this one didn't spread, but it did block traffic for hours Wednesday morning. Firefighters in Coeur d'Alene are speaking of hope moving forward after Dave Tisdall, a firefighter who was injured in a sniper attack last month, was moved to a spinal rehab center in Colorado. I'm senior reporter Roland Barris, and I talked to friends of Dave's about how his story is helping all of the community move forward after that devastating sniper attack that killed 2 other firefighters. The images of Dave Tisdall smiling as he starts his journey to rehab is the best medicine possible for those all around him.
Right now, in this dark time, I think Dave's improvement is something that we all can get behind and think about and help us get through the day as we try to grieve and try to go through that process.
Some law enforcement right now, there's an active shooter zone. They're shot. BC3's down, BC1's down. Everybody's shot up here. Law enforcement, code 3 now up here.
Tisdall was shot while responding to an arson fire on Canfield Mountain in Coeur d'Alene. 2 other firefighters, Frank Harwood and John Morrison, were killed in that attack. But Loney says Dave prevented it from being worse.
I mean, he's credited with saving lives. Even after he was shot, he was able to trigger his mic. The way he landed, his mic was on his shoulder, and he used his chin and his shoulder to cue his mic, and he was able to talk about what was happening. And he was able to yell to one of the other guys, "Don't come up here." And they were able to communicate to the rest of the crews down the hill that don't come up, that it was an ambush.
Loney says Tisdall has a long road to recovery, but is able to move his toes on command, which is a good sign. Eric tells me that well wishes have been pouring in from all over the country for the past several weeks, something that he says has made healing a lot easier to accomplish. In Nampa, senior reporter Roland Barris, Idaho News 6. A hearing scheduled for this morning in the case of Brian Kohberger ahead of his sentencing next week. The hearing will cover a recent motion to vacate a 2023 non-dissemination order which prohibited journalists from interviewing lawyers involved in the case. You can watch it live on our website and our app at 10:30 a.m. 2 weeks ago, Kohberger pleaded guilty to the 2022 murders of 4 University of Idaho students. Join us next Wednesday, July 23rd, for complete coverage of his sentencing. That all starts at 9 a.m., and then join us for our evening newscast for additional depth, context, and reaction. President Trump attacking his own base amid calls to release the Epstein files, calling anyone asking questions about it stupid people. Details coming up. Hey, it's 10 minutes past the hour, everybody, on this Thursday. Let's take a look at your national headlines now. A rescissions package slicing $9 billion in funding for public broadcasting and foreign aid is heading to the House. That's after Republican senators passed it in the early morning hours, 51-48. They're trying to meet a deadline tomorrow. Senators Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski are the only members of the GOP in the chamber who did not support it. President Donald Trump spat with the world's 10th largest economy. Brazil is escalating. The U.S. launched an investigation into unfair trading practices by the South American country. That's according to a statement by the United States Trade Representative. The investigation will focus on a host of issues, including preferential tariffs and anti-corruption interference. It will also look into ethanol market access and illegal deforestation. And as the Jeffrey Epstein story continues to grab headlines, a Manhattan federal prosecutor who worked on his case has been fired. Maureen Comey, you might recognize that name. She's the daughter of former FBI Director James Comey, was let go from her job Wednesday in the Southern District of New York. That's according to multiple sources. The reason for her firing, not yet known. Meanwhile, Trump's base growing increasingly suspicious of his administration as the focus narrows on what his top officials had been saying about the Epstein files less than a year ago, really. ABC's Perry Russum has more.
With pressure building on the Trump administration to release the Jeffrey Epstein files.
They're stupid people.
President Trump lashing out at members of his own party.
It's all been a big hoax. It's perpetrated by the Democrats, and some stupid Republicans and foolish Republicans fall into the net.
But it was Trump and some of his closest allies who flamed conspiracy theories on Epstein and a client list. Trump's FBI Director Kash Patel on a podcast in 2023.
What the hell are the House Republicans doing? They have the majority. You can't get the list?
Trump's Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino last year.
I don't trust any story they tell me about Jeffrey Epstein. There is a reason this client list is hidden.
Attorney General Pam Bondi on Fox News in February.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review.
Last week, a memo from the DOJ and FBI, agencies led by Patel and Bondi, concluded a client list never existed.
Do you still have confidence in that team, sir?
Total. One Democratic congressman now accusing Trump of a cover-up. Congressman Mark Vesey telling Vanity Fair it seems like he's trying to cover up for something or somebody. Conservatives from the old guard to young influencers applying pressure. Former Vice President Mike Pence on CBS.
I know of no reason why this administration, once the victims' names are protected, should not release all the files on Jeffrey Epstein.
And one of the most influential voices in the MAGA movement, Charlie Kirk.
It's been 10 days since you've leaked this thing on the holiday weekend, and you still have not done a straight to camera, straight to the sticks press conference. Here's why we reached the conclusion that we did.
Trump was asked about the possibility of appointing a special counsel to investigate the Epstein case. Trump saying, I have nothing to do with it. Perry Russum, ABC News, Washington.
When we get back, more details from the harrowing incident on I-84 where a stray bullet nearly killed a family's 6-year-old daughter.
Sophia Cruz with the Idaho News 6 forecast.
Happy Friday Eve, everyone, or Thursday, whichever you like to call it. I'm showing you a look of Sun Valley Resort this morning, and you'll notice it's quite hazy out there. Temperatures look nice and cool, but that wildfire smoke is slowly building into this area, so just a heads up, it is still going to be sunny today, but also hot and hazy. That's going to be really the trend as we head into the next couple of hours. As far as this afternoon goes, we are going to see the triple digits return. We have 103, which is making for the hottest spot on our map this afternoon. In Glenns Ferry, 100 in Mountain Home, 100 in Ontario, 99 stretching from Caldwell into Boise. Then our mountains, you'll continue to see those mid-80s to lower 90s. Tomorrow will be another hot one for us also. So again, gear up for some heat. It's really cranking up as we head into today and tomorrow afternoon. Tomorrow we look like 98, possibly getting to 99. I still do expect there will be some triple digits on our valley floors, such as Glenns Ferry. But stretching into next week, you'll notice that temperatures slowly start to dip. We get to lower 90s by Sunday, and then we see those mid-90s return by the end of next week. Now, a lot of that hot weather we're not very big fans of, which I get, especially if you're not by a body of water. It just feels hot. And as that smoke starts to build in, that'll help us keep from rapidly warming up. But I do want to talk about why it's building in and also the wind pattern that we're looking at right now. You're looking at a northwesterly flow increase as we head into our Friday evening. This brings about gusts near 20 miles per hour, and then as we head into the weekend, that same trend continues. But what this also brings in is not only wildfire smoke, but also some moisture from the Gulf. So as it does this, you'll notice that we do have a chance of isolated storms today and tomorrow. It's really towards those southern regions and as you border Nevada and Utah. So just a heads up from my friends in the Twin Falls area, that's where we could be looking at some of those isolated storms develop this afternoon. It grows widespread in its coverage by tomorrow, and it spreads upwards towards eastern Idaho and across our east central mountains. But just to give you a timeline of what this looks like, we do look at a few showers bubble up into the later evening around 6 o'clock. They fleet through the area, and then by 6 o'clock Friday again, we look at some more showers to come. But it's pretty quiet otherwise for the rest of us. The one thing we will notice though is the wildfire smoke. With this will start to really build in as we head into 9 a.m., getting a little bit towards that moderate category, and then into the later evening, it'll be a little bit more dense out there in the Treasure Valley. As far as the Magic Valley goes, it looks like it'll start to creep in around 6 o'clock, so expect to see a little bit more haze out there as you make your way into the later end of your day. However, the one thing we can all relate to is the heat. The heat will be sticking with us today and tomorrow, and then we'll see those mid-90s through the weekend, lower 90s as you head into next week.
My wife was leaning on the center console towards me. You know, we were just chit-chatting and having a fun family trip.
How long do you think it was before she kind of got comfortable and leaned in towards you before that happened, if you had a guess?
Well, we had done a very brief stop on Hammett Hill Road, which was 2.6 miles west of where I pulled over.
Okay.
Just to, have a quick little break.
I asked Knox if the way his wife repositioned herself during that break ultimately saved her life moments later.
She must have, yeah. Who knows how she was sitting had we not stopped? Yeah. I don't know.
Meanwhile, his daughter was looking at her iPad in the back seat.
My daughter had some of the headrest padding on her head, which tells me that it came out along with that round.
Knox says his wife, Stacy, is mentally exhausted, so he read her statement on what she called a terrible event.
It saddens me to know this incident will be a core memory for my 6-year-old daughter. What started as a fun family drive to her grandparents' house ended with her in an ambulance and then laying in a hospital bed for 5 hours. The wound in her head will heal in a matter of months. The wound in our hearts will take much longer.
Elmore County investigators determined the stray bullet came from a nearby individual who was target shooting in the area. The sheriff's office says charges have been filed against the person responsible.
I'm your neighborhood reporter Lori in Nettleton in Hagerman to check out some of the oldest dinosaur bones from around Idaho as part of a special program. It was here in the Hagerman Valley millions of years ago during the Pliocene era, dinosaurs stalked the earth. Well, okay, not dinosaurs, but other giant megafauna like saber-toothed tigers, mastodons, giant sloths, even the infamous Hagerman horse. I'm your neighborhood reporter Lori in Nettleton in Hagerman, where visitors will have a rare chance to see some of the oldest dinosaur fossils from around Idaho.
So it's a duck-billed dinosaur, and this is one of his vertebrae and one of his reconstructed ribs.
I've been to the Smithsonian. I see the fossils there from Idaho, and I always have thought, now I've got to actually see the fossil beds.
On the steep, stony bluffs west of Hagerman, a trove of fossils preserved through time await discovery.
So the Hagerman site is a good one because it was a mass die-off, like a starvation or something, right? And then they died near the water and were buried.
The vast majority of the Hagerman Fossil Beds National Monument is closed to preserve the specimens, so the best way to experience the fossils is at the Visitors Center. And for a few days this summer, you can see some other bona fide dinosaur fossils as a partnership between the monument and the Idaho State Museum of Natural History as they bring a much larger and older collection.
I thought I knew a lot about dinosaurs in general, but learning about Idaho-specific dinosaurs, all of this was new to me. I didn't realize that we had an Idaho dinosaur.
It's a partnership that allows us to bring fossils that we have in our collection over to Pocatello, and it allows the State Museum to bring fossils that they have in their collection over to us.
Ranger Michael Irving told me how most days visitors will get to experience the fossils found in Hagerman, which are fairly recent in fossil standards.
If we're thinking, millions of years ago, a lot of times people think, well, dinosaurs. Well, dinosaurs began to die out 66 odd million years ago. And that's from that time is when mammals began to take over. And so the Pliocene era was an era of mammals.
You can visit the Hagerman fossil beds daily throughout the summer. The State Museum's dinosaur collection will return to the Visitor Center on August 20th. In Hagerman, I'm your neighborhood reporter Lori in Nettleton, Idaho News 6.
All right, everybody, thanks for joining us this morning on Good Morning Idaho. It's Thursday, and we've got a lot more in store in our last half hour. Here's what's still to come from your neighborhood reporters.
In the East End, a hidden island, a bizarre land dispute, and a veteran who is taking the city of Boise to court.
In Boise, I'll tell you how you can stay connected for free at Boise Parks.
Outside from the Treasure Valley Chevy Dealers Tower Cam.
Connecting neighborhoods across the Treasure and Magic Valleys, telling stories from within our communities. This is Good Morning Idaho.
Welcome to Good Morning Idaho, everybody. I'm senior reporter Roland Barris up in Adam on a Thursday morning, and still much more to come from our large team of neighborhood reporters in our last half hour this Thursday morning, like Brady Caskey sharing an expanded initiative from Boise Parks and Rec to offer free Wi-Fi at popular parks across the city. That's pretty cool. That's a move that's been embraced by remote workers. And also this morning, the end of the hour, we're going to have Allie Tripke talking to the folks at Boise State, breaking down the creative methods that the athletics department is using to pay players and compete with those bigger schools. It all comes down to money these days, folks. For better or for worse. Let's bring in our Sophia Cruz now to get the latest on our weather. It's going to be another beautiful day, although hot, so be prepared.
Yeah, hot, scorching, standing in your freezer, good ways to describe the weather. Now, it is going to grow also hazy, so not only hot, but we are looking at hazy skies for this afternoon as wildfire smoke starts to build in. You'll notice, though, that right now it's pretty quiet out there. You can tell off into the distance from Bogus Basin, at least it is starting to get a little bit hazier out there, and we'll be talking about what the wildfire smoke looks like into our afternoon. But for today, the one thing that it does is help us from rapidly warming up, so that's nice. You get lower 80s by 10 a.m. By 12 o'clock, we'll be touching towards those upper 80s, and then we'll start to see those 90s on the board as we make our way into 2 o'clock, and that's also when we'll be seeing some of that wildfire smoke too. Now again, hazy skies and wildfire smoke, we'll be talking about what the impacts look like for your afternoon, and then also the hot end we have to our work week, and we have some triple digits on the board. I'm going to get it out on the air already just to get you ahead and really prepare for the heat. But either way, we do have some chances also for isolated storms. So we'll be talking about that monsoonal moisture coming in and what we can expect through the end of the week. Roland.
Oh boy. All right. Watch out for that lightning in any of those storms. Thanks very much, Sophia. Appreciate it. Turning to the news now. And this is a pretty bizarre case where an elderly man is claiming rights to a parcel of land, even though he doesn't actually own it. Our Riley Shoemaker explains.
I'm East End neighborhood reporter Riley Shoemaker looking into a bizarre legal battle over a piece of land most people have never heard of. It's called Sawmill Island. It's right here behind me, and it's a sliver of undeveloped property tucked between the Boise River and a canal. Now it's at the center of 2 legal complaints with the city of Boise. This narrow stretch of land is known as Sawmill Island, and one man is claiming it belongs to him. 72-year-old Navy veteran Christopher Burge says he's lived on and maintained this land off and on since 2017, claiming it through adverse possession, a legal argument that allows someone to take ownership of land if they occupy it visibly, continuously, and exclusively as if it's their own, in 2 separate lawsuits, one in state court and one in federal court. Burge says the city of Boise and the Boise City Canal Company are trying to push him out. Burge couldn't be reached in time for this story, but I set out to lay eyes on Sawmill Island for myself. So this is not the easiest place to find. I am looking for it right now. It's off the greenbelt somewhere. I can see the canal here, and I'm told by people at Warm Springs Golf Course that I have to sort of cut through some trees here to find this so-called Sawmill Island. After finding the stretch of land off the 10th hole of Warm Springs Golf Course, I spoke with some golfers who said they've seen a man that's, quote, always camping there. In the federal lawsuit, Burge accuses the city of Boise of fraudulently placing a tax parcel number on land he claims to legally occupy. That action, he claims, was used to justify his alleged arrest in June of 2025, something he argues violated his constitutional due process rights under the 14th Amendment. He's seeking $5 million in damages, along with $10,000 for every day criminal charges remain pending. The separate state case, filed in Ada County District Court, targets the Boise City Canal Company. Burge claims crews operating on behalf of the company trespassed and bulldozed historic features and wildlife habitat. Actions he believed were part of a plan to clear the island for development. A state judge recently decided that Christopher Burge has legal standing to sue for trespass, citing Idaho case law that allows someone who is in actual possession of land under a claim of right, even without holding a deed. The city of Boise declined to comment, citing ongoing litigation, but we'll continue to follow this case. I'm East End neighborhood reporter Riley Shoemaker, Idaho News 6.
Back to school is right around the corner, and a new year brings new smartphone rules in the Boise School District. The big takeaway, devices must be stowed during instruction so students can stay focused. In elementary schools, devices must be turned off and stored for the entire school day. In junior high, devices must be turned off and stored in lockers all day. High schoolers get a little more flexibility. They can use phones before and after school, during passing periods, and at lunch. But phones must be turned off and stored during instruction time. More districts could follow suit. Governor Brad Little signed the Phone-Free Learning Act last October. The executive order, supported by State Superintendent Debbie Critchfield, encourages districts to develop policies to manage smartphones in the classroom. At least one district was ahead of the game. As we reported, West Ada implemented a district-wide smartphone ban in the classroom last year. Some of the students even said they appreciated not being so glued to their phones. You can learn more about that effort in our prior reporting on idahonews6.com.
Coffee shops and libraries aren't the only places to find free Wi-Fi in Boise. You can also stay connected at many parks, pools, and landmarks across the city. I'm your Boise neighborhood reporter Brady Caskey, learning more about Boise Parks and Rec's expansion of free Wi-Fi. Ann Morrison is one of Boise's many bustling parks. Among the dogs, rafts, and bikers, you'll find Steve Martin working on his laptop.
More lately, I've just decided, it's really nice outside right now, and it's kind of like just to get out of the house for a few hours, maybe actually get some work done and actually enjoy being outside.
He works remote 40 hours a week and says being outside does wonders for his mental health.
It just makes you a little more focused, a little more happy, I guess, because, I've been working remotely for the better part of 15 years. I used to work in an office environment for a good 20 years before that, and you get a little tired of staring at your four walls.
He's connected to the free Wi-Fi that everyone can enjoy at 16 different locations all around the city.
We really want to make access a top priority in our entire system.
Boise Parks and Rec Director Doug Holloway says $2 million from the American Rescue Plan Act recently helped them bring free Wi-Fi to Ann Morrison Park, Julia Davis Park, and Cecil D. Andrus Park.
It took about 2 years to get all the infrastructure in place.
He says the new internet infrastructure helps big events in those parks run smoothly and allows them to improve security while also keeping park goers like Jane Wallace connected.
I think number one, it's safety for children, safety for elders. The two most important things is to be able to quickly call somebody if you need help.
In a 1-month snapshot, Boise Parks and Rec saw nearly 3,000 people connect to the networks at Ann Morrison, Julia Davis, and Cecil D. Andrus parks.
If you can take your work from your office and go out to a park site on a beautiful day and sit at a picnic table and just kind of enjoy the scenery and enjoy that solitude while still being able to conduct work, that's really a win-win.
The next Boise parks to be connected to the network are Keisho Corner and C.W. Moore Park. Reporting in Boise, I'm Brady Caskey for Idaho News 6.
That's so cool. I didn't know they had that out there. All right, let's take a look at a couple things going on in your neighborhood today. A hearing scheduled for this morning in the case of Brian Koberger ahead of his sentencing, which takes place next week. Now, the hearing will cover a recent motion to vacate a 2023 non-dissemination order, which prohibited journalists from interviewing lawyers involved in the case. Now, you can watch that hearing live on our website and on our app at 10:30 a.m. And over at Ivy Wild Park, Boise Parks and Rec hosting an inclusive pool party. The adventure program has rented out Ivy Wild Pool for individuals with disabilities and their friends and families. The pool has a sloped entry and a water chair is available to help transfer people into the pool. Entry is just $1 and that runs from 7 to 9 tonight.
Here at Boise State, I have more from the athletics department on how they're managing the ever-changing landscape of NIL and student-athlete compensation. Boise State is working to evolve as money in college sports continues to change the game. I'm Boise State neighborhood reporter Ali Tripke speaking with their athletics department about how they're navigating the era of NIL and student-athlete compensation while remaining true to their blue-collar brand.
It's 100% changed the game.
Since 2021, college athletes have had the chance to profit off their own name, image, and likeness. And as of July 1st, institutions like Boise State can pay their athletes a profit directly on top of scholarships.
So this is just another resource and another tool for us. Take a package that we can offer a student athlete and say, we believe this is the best place for you to come develop as a young person and pursue an education. And on top of that, you're going to have the ability to earn some income.
Cody Gogler is the deputy athletic athletic director for Boise State. He also heads up Bronco Pro, the school's solution to provide NIL and brand development services to their 350-plus student athletes. Last month, their team introduced Bronco Athletics Growth Solutions, or BAGS, as another way of generating revenue for paying athletes and funding different sports programs, a way to stay competitive and attractive to top athletic talent.
All the different ways that we've been utilizing athletes for years, we now have the legal ability and opportunity to compensate them for that up to our discretion to a cap.
And new Tuesday, Boise State announced their official partnership with Open Doors. This online platform will allow Broncos a chance to make NIL money no matter their sport or scholarship.
Really excited about our new partnership with Open Doors, which is essentially a marketplace for our athletes to exist in, to grow their brand image in.
Fans can purchase items like a video shout out or an autograph from players' storefronts. And with so much of college sports seeming to revolve around money, I asked Gogler,
is there still pride for playing for your school and just genuine love for the game in college sports?
Absolutely. You have to remember what our why is. We're a blue collar program and we love that culture that we've existed ourselves around with our fans and Bronco Nation. That does not have to change.
Allie Tripke, Idaho News 6.
Hey everybody, we are excited to welcome a new member of our team, neighborhood reporter Victoria Rodriguez joining us. Hey, it's so good to have you as part of the Channel 6 team. You are actually, were a student at Boise State.
Yep.
So you've been here for a little while.
I have. I just graduated from Boise State and I am excited to stay in the area and keep covering places like Parma, Middleton, and Caldwell. So.
Now, you're from the LA area originally?
I am. I'm from El Segundo, small little beach town. So.
And you're a surfer?
I am. I surf in my free time. I was a competitive swimmer growing up, so I really do enjoy the water and big bodies of water like lakes and oceans. So
right.
Perfect place to be.
So we have to get you up skiing this year. That'll be good. Then you can try the solid water.
New skill I definitely want to obtain. Definitely new skill I want to obtain by the end of the year. Hopefully I can get up there and try something new.
Be working here in the Caldwell area.
I am.
So what are you excited about covering here?
I'm just excited to continue covering a lot of underserved communities, a lot of stories that haven't been told before, and I'm excited to use my bilingual skills in doing that and being able to speak Spanish and, opening up those bridges of the people here in Caldwell and Canyon County.
It is so cool, and it's growing so fast too.
Yeah.
It's just kind of crazy. So there's going to be a lot for you to cover. Well, we are thrilled to have you here. And if you have any story ideas, Victoria Rodriguez is the person to talk to.
Yes.
Well, you got a hot afternoon in Caldwell, 99. We'll be talking about what we can expect into next week, as well as the wildfire smoke building in this afternoon.
The Idaho News 6 Allergy Report is brought to you by Boise Valley Asthma and Allergy Clinic.
Your allergy count back in the low category between grass and quinopod. So I'm going to continue to keep my eyes on this as we go through the week together, but so far, so good. I have all the updates you need to know on your allergy season right here.
Love your neighborhood. Brought to you by ICCU.
With things heating up, you need a way to cool down. This week's Love Your Neighborhood is Dee's Ice Cream Trolley, located in the historic Hyde Park District. Here's an exclusive look.
This is the service station. Yeah, so this is where we'll have our 9 flavors of ice cream. Sorry there's no ice cream in there right now, but I was just like everybody does. I was up late night scrolling on Facebook Marketplace, and I just kind of saw it pop up. It was in Medford, Oregon, and then me and Casey were working out in the morning, and we were looking at it like, man, this thing's really cool. What could we do with it? And since he owns the still, it was just like, let's build it into an ice cream shop. Yeah, so we have 3 booths. People can sit in here, hang out. Kids probably can fit 2, adults probably 1. And then we have this little bar top. But once I got it back into my shop, there was like a ton of water damage and like way more work than I thought I originally signed up for, just like most projects go. Yeah, this is probably my favorite feature of the whole bus is the tin copper roof. I think my favorite part has just been like having a vision and then seeing that like actually come to fruition. And I think a lot of like the hard work in between and just like the daily work has been super fun. And just seeing the progression is great. And I think it's just it's a testament to like, if you just work hard and if you have a vision, you just keep going after it, and like, it's gonna happen.
Who is Dee?
Dee, yeah, I've been getting that a lot. Dee is my mom's middle name. So my mom's always pushed me to like chase my dreams and get as much out of life as I can. So her support has definitely like made this whole thing kind of happen. Yeah, so this is the front patio. We only have one bench out here right now, but we'll have a bunch more benches. And then hopefully all this landscaping will grow in and should be an awesome place to come, sit, hang out, bring your dog, meet some people. We got music out here and just enjoy your evening. Being able to keep the money in like hands of individuals that actually live here and know what the community feels like, then we can give back and keep building cool stuff.
We've got a hot weekend ahead of us, and if you want to cool down, come down to the historic Hyde Park District this Saturday. They'll be open from noon to 10. This is the grand opening, so it'll be your first time to also check them out. Sophia Cruz reporting from the Hyde Park District, Idaho News 6.
Sophia Cruz with the Idaho News 6 forecast.
Yesterday I got to go to Dee's Ice Cream Trolley, and if you need a new way to cool down and you're going to be in Hyde Park District this weekend, they open Saturday. It's the grand opening, so you can't miss it. It's also just going to be really hot this afternoon, so you've got to find ways to cool down, and if that involves a sweet treat, that's just a plus. As far as this morning goes, showing you Sun Valley Resort, it is going to start to look a little bit more hazy here in the next couple hours. Temperatures sitting in those lower 40s and mid 40s in this area. It feels really nice here, doesn't it? But as we make our way into our afternoon, I do want to talk about our wildfire smoke because you're going to notice it as soon as you step out the door. We have northwesterly flow increasing, and so that's what's pushing in all of that wildfire smoke from our surrounding states, such as Oregon. The largest one they have there right now is the Cram Fire, so that is really what's aiding bringing all of the smoke plume over. So from Burns, that's where it gets a little bit more dense, and then as we get ready for our afternoon and evening ahead, this goes into 620 today, you notice that we start to see that moderate smoke come over us. That's going to be a little bit denser. It'll be a little bit lighter in those west and east central mountains. But by tomorrow afternoon, the same story goes. So get used to some hazy skies over the next 2 days. As far as what our winds look like, this is what's really bringing in all that wildfire smoke. We have gusts sitting between 15 to 25 miles per hour over the next 2 days, and that pattern continues to trend as we head into our weekend. But what this also is going to bring in is increase our monsoonal moisture, so that moisture we get from the coast and also just from the Gulf in general. This will bring on some chances of isolated storms this afternoon and then also tomorrow. Now for this afternoon, it's all over the Magic Valley and as you border those states in between Nevada and Utah, so heads up if you are traveling out of state or maybe making your way into those areas this afternoon. By tomorrow, it does grow increasingly more widespread over the area from our valley floors upwards towards our east central mountains, extending over to our friends in Salmon. Now this doesn't include necessarily the Treasure Valley or those west central mountains, but it is something just to give you a heads up about. Either way, what we can expect for all of us this afternoon, the heat. If you are going to be in our valley floors, there are several spots where we'll be reaching the triple digits. You've got 103 in Glenns Ferry, 100 in Mountain Home, 99 between Caldwell and Boise, and 100 coming into Ontario. So quite the hot afternoon ahead. If you're in our mountains, you've got mid 80s to lower 90s. By tomorrow, you're probably thinking, will we see some relief? Well, not necessarily just yet. We stick with 101 in Glenns Ferry, another hot spot for us again. 98 from Caldwell into Mountain Home, 101 into Ontario, and then lower 90s into those mountains. So if you need some relief, you're gonna have to make a trek to the mountains because that's where it's looking to be the coolest spot. Now, either way, then the upper 90s will stick with us today and tomorrow, and then we'll see a cooler weather maker come over the weekend, and that'll bring down our temperatures to those lower 90s through next week. So lower 90s looks to be our relief. We're going to have to start getting used to the heat, but just again, that friendly reminder, stay hydrated, wear sunscreen, take shade breaks, especially if you work outside, because all this board is showing is that we're getting less hot on some days and more hot on others. Either way, we'll get through together. Now, it is our Thursday morning. Let's go take a look at your roads.
Idaho News 6 traffic is brought to you by Champion Windows.
All right, 6:51 is your time, and we're giving you a look of downtown where those hazy skies are starting to take over just a bit, but that's not stopping the commuters, especially because it's Friday Eve. If you are getting ready to head out the door, your roads right now look pretty quiet overall. We're not noticing too much change just yet as far as congestion goes. We haven't seen very much happen this morning. Again, it is still 6:51. So as you head out, it looks pretty good. Just giving you a look at Middleton Road right now. Here's what it looks like. You've got really that direction and really flow looking nice on this road. So if you're heading on the I-84, Nice, smooth start waking up this morning. Hopefully this continues on as you make your way into the later morning of the day. But either way, 11th Avenue Street to Garrity Boulevard. If you're heading on the Garrity, it looks pretty good. A little slow up, just under 6 minutes though, so that's not too bad for your early morning, especially if you're getting out there pretty early. Chittenden Boulevard to US 20 right now, sitting at just under 13 minutes.
This morning's GMA First Look, we're taking you backstage at the ESPYs.
What was it like being on stage celebrating all of your success?
It's definitely not like performing. I'd rather do a million beam routines in a row than to be up there and giving a speech. But nonetheless, super exciting to be here with all the athletes celebrating all of our achievements.
All night, women's sports were firmly in the spotlight.
Robin Roberts says that women's sports isn't a moment, it's a movement. You're a part of that. What do you think about the state and the future of women's sports?
I think that right now we are like at an all-time high, and it's so amazing to see, just because, I mean, it can always get better from here, but it's just so amazing to see and for everybody to be engaged and actually care about women's sports.
Coming up at 7 a.m., more of the biggest stars from the ESPYs. With your GMA First Look, I'm Andrew Dimber, ABC News, New York.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Good Morning Idaho. 5 minutes before the hour, just wrapping up here in case you missed it. These are the top stories that we're following from our neighborhood reporters. The BLM responded to the first major Idaho wildfire of the season on Tuesday. The Tyndall fire peaked at nearly 1,700 acres in the Crane Falls area next to CJ Strike Reservoir. Officials saying it was human-caused and it remains under investigation. A bizarre lawsuit. 72-year-old man suing the city of Boise, claiming he legally occupies a disputed stretch of land known as Sawmill Island, despite not holding a legal title or deed. He cites a legal principle known as adverse possession. And Boise Parks and Rec expanding its Wi-Fi availability at popular parks around the city, now offering free Wi-Fi at 16 different locations. And you can learn more about all these stories on our website, idahonews6.com.
Now, the Out the Door forecast, brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors.
All right, 6:56 is your time, and as you get ready to head out the door today, nice cool start waking up. It'll be a little bit clearer, and then as you get ready for lunchtime, you'll notice we'll be touching towards those mid-80s, but also that wildfire smoke will have started to build in. It looks pretty light, but it will contribute to hazy skies throughout our afternoon today and possibly also into tomorrow. So if you want to read more about the forecast, head on over to idahonews6.com. Otherwise, let's go get you ready for your morning commute.
Idaho News 6 traffic is brought to you by Champion Windows.
6:57 is your time, and we're giving you a look of downtown right now. It's again 6:57, nice and clear down there. Those hazy skies are starting to build in slightly, so just a heads up too if you're heading out there. But otherwise, looks pretty good on the roads this morning. We're sitting at right now 30 minutes from Caldwell into downtown if you're traveling eastbound. Across I-84, it's a nice clear start waking up for us. You've got Caldwell to Garrity under 14 minutes, Garrity and Eagle under 9, and Eagle into downtown Boise under 7. So going to be a nice quiet start to our morning. I wish the weather would be a little bit quieter and we would see the heat turn off. That would be nice, Roland.
Yeah, not for a while, I guess. But at this time of the morning, it's nice to have the windows open. Even if you're in kind of stop and go traffic, it's cool enough.
Yeah, it feels cool enough. And then you head into the afternoons, and when you get in your car, it just feels like you're sitting in an oven.
Yeah, I've learned not to get into my car with shorts this time of year because I've got leather seats. And that's the thing about leather. I'll tell you what, it heats up so hot, you don't want to touch anything.
Yeah, so you got to give people that reminder too to check their cars also before they lock for their pets or small kids also.
That is absolutely good advice. Sophia, thanks so much. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Stay cool out there. Enjoy a beautiful day in the city of trees, and we'll see you again tomorrow.